In AutoCAD 2017, you can alter the line type scale globally and also on individual objects in AutoCAD. The line type scale is known as LT scale in AutoCAD and has been for many years in AutoCAD as well. So what we're doing is we're sticking with the 10 underscore object layer properties.dwg file. I'm sure you've downloaded it already and saved it from the previous video and you're working along following the videos. I'm going to zoom in on the hinge on the left hand side. So get the crosshair just over the hinge like that, roll up on the wheel on the mouse, get it so that the hinge is sitting nicely on the screen like that. I'm just going to mess around and there we go. That's just about where you want it to be. You want to be able to see these 3 dashed lines here. Now what you can do with the LT scale in AutoCAD is you can change it globally and you can change it individually. I'm going to do a global change first. Now the reason I've left the bolt over here as well is there's a dashed arc there as well. Can you see that? But the dashes are different sizes. That's because we're using 2 different line types. If I select this line here and I just right click and go to properties, you'll notice that the line type, if I hover over it there, is dashed. Just the regular dashed line type. And I can load that up and change the line type. And we'll look at line types later on. So I'll just hit escape there to deselect that and I'll close the properties palette. Now if I select this arc here and click on it and then do another right click and go to properties, you'll see that this is using the dashed X2. Now these are default line types that come with AutoCAD, so don't worry about where they come from. We'll look at line types in a moment. I'm just going to hit escape there and close the properties palette again. Now if I globally change the LT scale, the line type scale, these 2 different types of dashed lines and arcs will alter accordingly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to halve the LT scale because the default LT scale is 1, which in essence is 100%. So if I halve it and change it to 0.5, it's going to make the dashes and the spaces half the size. Now how do you change your LT scale? Easy. Make sure you've got dynamic input on and just type LT scale like that. You'll see it come up on the suggestion menu. You'll also notice that there's PS LT scale and MS LT scale. Those are paper space LT scale and model space LT scale. Those are for scaling in viewports and things when you work with layouts. You don't need to worry about those. So press enter for LT scale and you can see that the scale factor is 1. I'm going to put in 0.5 globally for the whole drawing. So this will affect every dashed and dotted line in the model space at the moment as we look at it. So if I now press enter like so, what you'll find is they'll change. And can you see that? They've halved. They've got smaller. So the dashes and the spaces between the dashes have halved. So if I undo that now, you'll see they go back to normal. So that's a global LT scale change. Now the lovely thing is you can do this individually as well with objects. It's really easy to do. So what I'll do is I'll select these 3 lines on the hinge. Just click on each one like so, add them to the selection set like that. Right click and go to the properties palette. And you'll notice that the LT scale, the line type scale, is at the top of the properties palette and it's 1. So I can click in there, type in 0.5 in there and press enter. So it's the same as what I did before, but I'm now doing it just for those 3 line objects. And you'll see that they change. You can see them change over here. I'll close the properties palette now. Just hit escape and you'll notice that these ones have changed, but over here the arc remains the same. It hasn't changed this time because I've only changed the LT scale individually. Now this is a lovely feature when you're scaling objects in viewports, because what you can do is change the LT scale of individual objects to make the dashes and the spaces look effective in a scaled viewport. Because obviously these objects would be scaled and placed in a viewport to go on a layout, ready to be plotted into something like a hard copy drawing or a PDF. So that's how you alter your LT scale both globally and individually in AutoCAD 2017.